Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, beautiful people. I'm sorry. I think I have something. Someone said I am not sure what's going on, guys. Hold on just a moment. Whew, I feel exhausted. So I'm sorry again, my mic was off. But I am here with Dr. Erika Lee Augustin, who is my special guest this evening, who is going to talk about purpose. And so is living a life of purpose, and she is going to share her organization, her book, and so many nuggets with you all this evening. But before I bring her in, let's kind of talk about purpose. Um, as always, I try to set the tone for my guests. And so I did some research this evening, and it talks about individuals with strong sense of purpose tend to live longer, have healthier hearts, and are more psychologically resilient. And a few reasons um, why it's important to live a life of purpose. It provides an unlimited supply of fulfillment, the most powerful antidote to depression, sadness, and even a desire to take one's own life is knowing that at least one person's life somewhere is better off because they exist. That's why I do what I do every day. The second point that I was able to discover in my research said direction, guidance, and comfort through hard times. Hard times are a reality that we all have to face at different points in our lives. We all struggle through dark moments, situations, failures, obstacles, trials, and tribulations. The third point, endless motivation to add more value and accomplish more success. Nothing can motivate a person more than having a positive effect on other people. Money, fame, power, prestige, and advancement all come secondary to the most powerful source of motivation in the world, which is purpose. The last point that I want to share is living with purpose brings a powerful sense of aliveness. Purpose not only gives you fulfillment, guidance through hard times, and motivation to win, it can also give you a powerful and rare feeling of aliveness. Purpose makes you come alive. And so I want to share Dr. Augustine with you all this evening. And so thank you to those who noticed that my mic was not working properly. Thank you for saying something because as we all know, Sybil, the devil is certainly busy. And so we're going to ignore all signs that he's present because we have something wonderful to share with you all tonight. So with that being said, I am going to bring my special guest in, and she's going to introduce herself to you all. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Erika Lee Augustine. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad we were able to connect. I know you're busy living a purposeful life, and I understand that. And so I'm just so grateful that we were able to secure a date that worked and to have you to come in and kind of share what it is that God has purposed you to do. Because through all of my efforts on this platform and through life, I want to make sure I help people live their best life. And so sometimes they can look at someone else doing just that and be inspired by that, educated, motivated, etc. So thank you again, Dr. Augustine, for being here. And I shared a little bit about your bio on Facebook, but I would love for you to introduce yourself in a way that feels comfortable to you, to the audience this evening.
Absolutely. Well, I am Dr. Erika Lee Augustine, and I'm the founder of the P.U.R.S.E Foundation. And P.U.R.S.E stands for Partnering Under Real Situations Every Day, and it addresses the question, what are you carrying? So, our mission is to educate, empower, and encourage teens and community members to take a stand against dating violence. Our goal, more specifically, we actually work with teens, and what we do is we go into schools and educate them on the red flags of what a possible abusive dating partner looks like. And we and it's called the P.U.R.S.E Foundation. And although we focus on it's a lot of things, a lot of accessories that people may carry. Our main focus is the accessory of teen dating violence and domestic violence. And so we want to go into the schools and educate our young people on what to look like, on what a possible abusive dating partner looks like, with hopes of them not entering into a domestic violence situation as an adult. So that's what P.U.R.S.E Foundation is. And also, I'm an author of the book Dump It, which stands for Dating Under My Potential. And I think a lot of us have been there where we dated. And we dated some people who didn't deserve us because we didn't know ourselves. We didn't know our worth. So basically, the book Dump It is about dumping anything that's hindering you and propelling you from growth.
I absolutely love that. Dating under my potential. So, and you're right. Many times we do date people who just don't deserve us. We spend time with people who don't even know how to value us.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So thank
exactly.
you for the effort to make a difference in a young person's life, because that's
Absolutely.
where it starts, right?
That's where it starts. Yes. And
Mm.
that's why we want to start with our young people, because we're looking at relationships when we're young and we carry those habits into adulthood. But if we can correct those while you're young and give you what a healthy relationship looks like, chances are you'll be in better, more successful, healthier relationships as an adult.
Wow. Thank you for that. Tell me, where's Erica? Tell me more about Erica. Erica Lee Augustine. Where's Erica from? Is
Yes.
Erica only child? How did you get to this? I mean, tell us a little more about you.
Absolutely, definitely. So, no, I am not the only child. So, I am the second to youngest sibling. So, I have three brothers and three sisters. So, and I'm from a small city right outside of Chicago called Kankakee, Illinois, and and now I reside here in Atlanta, Georgia. How did I get to Atlanta, Georgia? Well, I'll tell you. I got here to Atlanta, Georgia after I finished grad school in Illinois. I knew it was just something, it was time for me to go. It was time for me to leave the area that I was in. So I put 6 states in the hat and I said, God, whichever one I pull out, please allow me to go there. So I pulled out the first state that I pulled out, it was Texas. And so I was like, oh, yes, I'm moving to Texas. And one day I was out walking my dog, and a friend's father pulled on the side of me and said, hey, what are you doing with your life now? And I said, I'm getting ready to move to Texas. And he said, what part? And I said, I don't know.
Oh
So
my goodness.
so I went back to the drawing board and I said, God, please, I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to put all the states back in the hat. Allow me to pull out the place that you want me to go or where I should go. And I pulled out Georgia. And that night I had peace. It was peaceful and I felt calm. And the next day I had a friend call me and say, "Hey, I'm going to Georgia to for my celebrate my birthday. Would you like to come?" And I said, "Oh gosh, oh yes, yes." So I was like, wow, okay, this is working. And so I ended up going to Georgia, came for the first time and visited and loved it. And I came back and put my house on the market and it sold within 2 months. And that's how I got here to Georgia.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. God made the provisions for me to get here. So I knew his hands were in it because he definitely provided the resources for me to come.
That is awesome. Put the names in a hat.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That is so like ordained. The way that happened.
Yeah, the way it
pulled out
happened.
Texas, had no idea about what part of Texas you were
No,
going.
no,
And
none
then
at all.
let's do this again. Yes. And
Yeah.
so is it safe for me to say that you're still a newlywed?
I am newlywed. So I recently got married April 30th this year. And so, yeah, so we are newlyweds. And so I'm just still in the bliss of doing what newlyweds, married couples love to do, just loving on
Yes.
each other and just thanking God daily for the beautiful blessings. So, yes.
Yes, that is
Mhm.
wonderful. I followed your wedding videos and pictures, just absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So tell us more about the P.U.R.S.E Foundation, which is the basics or the
Yes,
foundation of what you do. How did
absolutely.
it start? What
Mhm.
inspired you?
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so definitely, I didn't know that leaving Illinois and coming to Georgia, that's where the journey will begin, and God was putting in motion the purpose for me and for my life. And when I got here to Georgia and settled, soon after I did start dating, and I got into a abusive relationship that I was even in denial that I was even in. And
Mm,
so,
you better
um,
say it.
yeah,
'Cause
and
I'm sure
so
somebody's watching this show tonight that
yeah.
can identify with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I was in denial. I didn't want to believe it because the person that I had met was charming. He just swept me off my feet. The person was just everything. I was so smitten by this person that I ignored a lot of the red flags, the warning signs that were flashing in front of my face.
Mm,
And
mm,
I got into a situation like that, and it wasn't until my college mate. I got the news that she was murdered. Her name was Nova Henry. And not only was she murdered, but her 9-month-old daughter, Ava Henry, were murdered by her ex boyfriend. And at the time that I got that news, I just knew that it served as my wake up, get up and get out call. And because I knew what happened to her, it could very well happen to me. So I used the strength of that tragedy right there. It served as my strength to get out of the relationship that I was in. It was my wake up call. And the signs that I missed, basically, of this particular person that I was dating, I missed the signs of him picking out my clothes for me. I covered it and dressed it with, "Oh, he loves spending time with me. This is so nice." Him asking me to leave my job as a way to be a provider for me. So I covered it with that. Him always calling me when I was away from the home, as him making sure that no one had harmed me. So I didn't know the signs and to look out for, and I didn't know that walls were being created to keep me held at the mercy and held towards my abuser.
mm.
So he was isolating me and also letting me know that certain people were not my friends. And so that was just that isolation and all those things that I misinterpreted and called love and addressed as love. They were not. And I simply was
Wow.
not aware of the signs. And so I was living in the illusion. And so that's why I ended up in such a situation, because I didn't know and I wasn't aware. But as mentioned, when my friend when she was murdered, that served as my wake up and get out call. And since God allowed me to get out of that situation that could have been fatal for me as well, I
Yes.
vowed to him that I will serve him and I will intentionally go out and make sure that I help others facing the issue of abuse by sharing my story and
Yeah.
making sure that they know what to look for. And I
Yeah.
just wanted God to get me out of the situation, and He did. And He has allowed me to be able to utilize the platform P.U.R.S.E Foundation to go out and spread the message. So I didn't know it would be my purpose. I didn't know that this would be my lane, because this is not something that I really like to do, to speak in front of others. But God has called me. And so when I go, I know I'm going in His strength and in His love, and I have to do what I'm called to do.
Mm. So, how long were you in that abusive relationship that you ignored the red flags?
Well, when it became really abusive, I think it was about 4 months. Yeah, we
Wow.
dated for, usually when you date someone, they don't show you who they are in the beginning. They mask it, and they can mask it for a while. And so the person I was dating had wore a good mask until they couldn't wear it no more. And then as I began to wake up, it was like, it really became physical within the last 4 months of us dating. And but there were some instances here and there within that year or so that I could have left and gave up as well. But the last 4 months, it was when I endured the emotional and the physical abuse more so than any other time.
Wow, physical and emotional. I was going to
Mm-hmm.
say
Yeah.
sometimes abuse is physical,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's emotional,
Mm-hmm.
mental,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Me too.
And
Right.
so that those invisible scars can be even more detrimental than the
Long
physical
lasting.
scars, right?
Yes. Yes, they can. And yeah, it's all,
Mm.
and with and during that, it takes time getting out of the situation like that. Before I even got on the journey to living out my purpose, I had to take some time and get back with my father and spend time in his presence to be rebuilt. And
Ooh,
so I did not date for years. I did not do anything. I made sure that every morning, that my morning was started with my father reading the word, praying, and just being
mm.
rebuilt, and to get back to me, because I had lost me.
Yes,
And the
yes,
only way to get back to me was to go back to the Father, my first love, who first loved me, so I can
yes,
identify what love is.
yes, Lord. First Corinthians chapter 13, 4 through 8, a great definition of what love is according to the word. And if a person doesn't come with those characteristics, in my
Hmm.
opinion, it's not love.
Hmm.
So I'm so glad that you're here today, safe and able to share, because as you said, your roommate is no longer here and her 9-month-old child is no longer here.
Right.
So, and we've lost so many men and women
And
to
women. Hmm.
abusers, right?
Yes, we
Who are
have.
right under their noses. So I am just so grateful
Hmm.
that you're here, that you took the
Yep.
time, because I heard you say,
Hmm.
I took time after that relationship to reconnect with myself and to my Father God,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that
Yes.
when I do walk in my purpose, I am truly
Absolutely.
in a good place.
Absolutely. You can't really go out and help others until you get help. And so I had to get back in line. I had to get back in my footing back, even. And so when it came to P.U.R.S.E Foundation, I didn't know that P.U.R.S.E Foundation per se would be the name of an organization. I didn't know that I would run an organization. It wasn't until one night I had a dream and about Nova. And in a dream about Nova, the word purse was in the dream, and it was in black bold letters with periods in between each letter. And I woke up out of that dream and I said, God, what does P.U.R.S.E mean? And, and then that's when God gave me the vision, P.U.R.S.E, partnering under real situations every day. So God gave me that. That was in a dream. I didn't just sit down and say, oh, this is P.U.R.S.E. God brought it to me in a dream. And since He did, I held on to that for some years before I began to operate in the purpose. And then I encountered some fearful moments like, oh no, I can't do this. I'm not qualified
Mhm,
enough to
mhm,
speak.
mhm.
I shouldn't be doing this. And God told me, well, I'm gonna put it into somebody else's hands. If you don't, go forth. And then I had a lot of people around me that encouraged me to go forth. And so that's what helped me start diving into my purpose. And the more I went out and dived into my purpose, God continued to add things unto me because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do, but I just started. And that had to be the toughest challenge that I experienced, just starting. And I had a good friend that said, hey, just start with what you have. And that was the key to me really just taking off. I didn't have a whole lot to start with, but I had a story. I had my experience, and all I had to do was share it. And God has been adding to me ever since.
Yes. And how long ago did you start the P.U.R.S.E Foundation?
Yeah, P.U.R.S.E Foundation was started in 2012, but it's been in my belly since 2008.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Wow, and you travel all over.
Yeah, well, we operate mainly here in Georgia, and what we do is we also have partnership in Illinois, where I'm from, because I definitely want to make sure in my hometown and where Nova's from, which is Illinois as well, we want to make sure we reach them, reach the people there as well. So between here, Illinois, and Georgia, this is where most of our work is done. And what our work looks like is we hold workshops, complimentary workshops at schools, churches, or wherever called, and we go out and host these workshops and educate our young people on the what a healthy relationship looks like. And we affirm our young people with meaningful gifts during our workshops as well. And we create vision boards about healthy versus unhealthy. What does it look like? We ask our young people to frame your life with your words. And so we just have at the schools we have a 1 day field workshop, and it's called E3 program, where we partner with schools that allow us to come and host a 1 day workshop with the students, to 100 students. And so we set up several different speakers to speak on a variety of topics, but the main topic that they're going to get is about teen dating violence.
I love it. So at the end, we definitely want to share your information in the next upcoming event, etc. So the P.U.R.S.E Foundation was the foundation.
Yes.
So tell me, how did we get to D.U.M.P?
Dump it. Yes, we got to
Dump
the
it.
book.
Yes.
Dump it. Yes, dating under my potential. So I've always written small stories, short poems, and even my experiences when dating. I found that sometimes to find resolve, whenever I dealt with something, I found resolve by writing about it.
Mm.
So that's how Dump It actually came about. A lot of the stories are my stories, and there's also other people's stories that share with me, and it's just put in a poetic twist, a art form to help people resonate with the relationships that they may be in. So some of the stories that you may encounter on this book is called Don't Delay Your Healing. And this is just a reminder that you don't have to stay in something. The longer you stay in something, the longer and that's hurting you, the more pain you will be in. So it's about it's a lot of different just short reads that people have experienced, and it's just a way for us to be able to reflect over those things that people have experienced and ask ourselves some of the questions to say, hey, am I in this? What would I do if I was in this? How can I be better myself in this situation? So that's how Dump It has come about. So it's more of a guide to help people start those hard conversations with their youth, and it's also applicable to adults. So
Yes, because so many of us still have not gotten our, I would say, our personal mind right, right? And so we may date for varied reasons or get involved with the wrong people for various reasons. And I lately I've taken a retrospective look at myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it starts with self. And
yes.
so I'm asking myself the questions like, now why is that the case?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't always blame it on the other person, right?
Absolutely.
Why
Absolutely.
is that the case?
Yeah. And
Let me
and
deal
I
with
really,
my ish.
absolutely. And that's what I realized about purpose is that the more you are in your purpose, the more you don't waste your time on
Woo.
purposeless things. So, even though I dated after that abusive relationship, I dated some people who weren't a fit for me. However, I didn't waste a lot of time because I knew it wasn't right. So the more I learned about me, the more I rejected those things that weren't for me.
Oh, I love it. The more you learned about you, the more you rejected the things that were not suitable for you.
Correct.
I love it. My
Mm-hmm.
second husband, because I married right out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then my second husband came 20 years later, and
Mm-hmm.
he was a godsend. But prior to him coming, I remember writing a list. I
Mm-hmm.
remember developing my list for my mate.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was like God answered my prayers.
Yeah.
It was very clear what it was that I desired, and I wrote
Mhm.
it. I'm not saying it was a perfect man, because there's no perfect men, right? Or
Right.
women.
Right.
However, that list consisted of the most important things that I desired.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just amazed about the workshops, and I'm hoping that some people
Yeah.
from some churches and some organizations that deal with youth
Yes.
will call you, will
Absolutely. We
reach out
go
to
with
you,
y'all.
so that
Yeah.
you can
Mhm.
partner with them and be able to provide these services and
Absolutely.
be a blessing to the youth.
Hmm.
What's the
Absolutely.
earliest age that you offer the program to?
13 it would be the youngest, but usually we're starting with we know that abuse starts even as young as middle school, but we
Yes.
start our programs with more so 14 and up.
Mm. So let's talk about, purpose. I kind of,
Mhm.
heard you say what got you to this
Yeah.
purpose. When you think of purpose, would you say you're walking in yours right now, and there's like, you, without a shadow of a doubt, I know that, as you said, when you had that dream,
Mhm.
this is it. Is this it?
Yeah, my purpose is continuously being revealed to me daily. God is always revealing something new for me. The more that I dwell in His presence, so purpose is continuous. As long as I'm focused and willing to follow the leading of God, He's always willing to add things new to me for me to learn and discover about myself. So it's always elevating, and God is always giving me new vision and new things to embark upon. The more that I follow His leading, so I can continue to grow and continue to evolve to be able to help His people.
I love it. Is there something else like on the plate that you can think of that you plan to pursue in the near future, or you're still listening to that voice in that direction?
Yeah, I'm always asking God to continue to give me clear vision on what you want me to do next. Because so far, what we have been able to establish is recently, which is our scholarship program. And so we award scholarships to 3 schools, and we're hoping to award more. So we offer them currently to our partnering schools, which is Westlake High School. And then we also have where I'm from, Kankakee High School, and then where Nova attended, which is Thornwood High School. And we hope to add more scholarships as people continue to learn about our programs. And we also been able to establish the workshops throughout the community, and we host a lot of community events. And most of where our community events are held at are in shelters, because we believe in going where the people are. And so we go where those people who have been affected by homelessness and domestic violence, they reside in the shelters. So we bring forth our love to the shelters.
God's love in action.
Yes.
P.U.R.S.E Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me when I thought about the title of your foundation. I was like, I wonder if they give purses that are filled with essentials or things that people would need. It just hit me.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. But due to COVID now, what we do as a safety measure, we now give out tote bags with our logo on the bag. Just purses. The women did love the purses in the past, but now that we're going into the shelters, the safety measures is to bring the tote bags filled with hygiene products and goodies for the families residing in the shelter.
Okay, so before we close out, we want to talk about how people can contribute somehow or donate, if there are things that you're accepting in terms of donations, as well, because I'm sure it's ongoing
Yeah.
and you're always needing, um, supplies.
Yeah, so we do quarterly events, and our next upcoming event is going to be our holiday event at a shelter. And so this is the time of the year where we accept light, gently new clothing. We like to bring kind of everything new to the shelter. And if it's not new, just very gently used clothing. And we provide food and other trinkets and sources to the shelter in December. So we'll be doing that. And roughly possibly the second week in December at Solomon's Temple Shelter. And you can find out more information about our events by following us on our Facebook page, P.U.R.S.E Foundation, or our IG page at P.U.R.S.E Foundation, P.U.R.S.E_Foundation_Inc. to keep up with the events that we'll be doing in the community. And you can also, I didn't put my email address up, but if you can email me, and I'll put it in the chat here for anyone who wants to email me. You can also join our mailing list where we send out information on our upcoming events.
Awesome. So when we think about a person who may be watching today, who may be watching next week or next year, and you had the opportunity to speak directly to them, and they haven't begun to walk in their purpose, what would you say to that person or those individuals?
So if there is something that is on your heart for you to do, something that God has placed on your heart, and you're just not sure how to start, you don't know where to start, and those famous words that were told to me, just start with what you have and trust God to lead you and carry you through every other stage in your life. This is the biggest challenge. He wants to see, will you jump? Will you jump start? And so even without having all the glitz and glamour around you, will you start for me? Will you trust me? Will you just go forward? So if that is on your heart to do something for the people, just start with what you have. Your voice is what you have. Your hands is what you have. Your body, go forth and do what God has called you to do.
Yes, I so echo that. You know, when he said to me in 2020 to start the talk show, and I was like, really, in my home?
Yeah.
Like, really? I'm like, that's not what I envisioned. I like glam and glitter.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I need you to start the show.
Absolutely.
I need you to talk to the people about getting their affairs in order. And so I was obedient. And I said, never despise humble beginnings.
That's right.
Start right there, and you keep marching forward, and the increase will take place when it's time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so here we are 2 years into it, and I'm still going. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it whenever I get someone to inbox me or say something to me, how it blessed them? Yes. That is what keeps me going. And you heard me define purpose in the beginning, right?
Yes. It was awesome. Yes.
Yes. And so it keeps me going, even if one person,
That's right.
all the naysayers, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
So as we continue this wonderful conversation with you, what has life been like as a wife and an entrepreneur? Now you're balancing both. You're balancing, you know, because I remember my husband and I, he was an ordained minister, and we both worked. We both did ministry work. We both did our personal business stuff. And it was a balancing act.
Yes. Yeah.
What is that like today for you? Because, you know, I'm single, not by choice, but I don't have to be concerned with a spouse. And I know how important it is for both spouses to be concerned about each other. So how do you balance that thing of being an entrepreneur and a wife?
That's a great question. And I tell you, you know, one of the first things I do to just start my day off right, and that's so funny, my word today was about balance, and that the enemy, anytime you lose balance, that's just a foothold for the enemy to get in. And so one of the ways I start my day off is with the word of God. I don't talk to anyone. I don't talk to my husband. I don't look at no phone or anything. My first obligation when I wake up and my feet hit the floor is to go and talk to my Heavenly Father.
Yes.
And then after talk to my Father, I read a word, and I just sit there and I meditate on that word, and I just give the Lord his thanks and his praise. And I ask God to grant me order and guidance in my day. And when I leave my prayer closet, sometimes I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what to do first. I got this to do. I said, but God lead me. And somehow God just always just put order in my day when I
Mm.
make him first and make him that priority.
Yes,
So,
indeed. Yes, indeed.
yeah. So
And
it is
so
a
first
balancing
him,
act. First him.
and then your husband, and
Yes.
then your business.
Yes.
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 And you know,
And
one
God
of the
gives
things,
order.
yes, and I remember just thinking, many, many, many
Mm-hmm.
marriages ended with people who say they love the Lord with their ministry work because of things being out of order, right?
Yes.
And I think it's so important that we remember the order in which I think God would be pleased with first. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
honor him, then
Yes.
our family,
Yes.
then the business or the ministry or what
Mm-hmm.
have you. But that balance must be in place. And so
Yes.
it's a balancing act because
It is.
we don't want to feel neglected, and nor do we
Mhm.
want our spouse or our family members to feel neglected because this thing seems to be more important, right?
Right, right. Yeah, and so everything has to have its own fair share of balance, and that's just the everyday act and the everyday goal of doing things better than I did on yesterday, and and not spending time on things that didn't go as well on today, and so it's just being better than I did on yesterday. So
Yes. And for
such.
me, my personality, when I think of
Mhm.
balance, because I'm a Libra, and if my life is not balanced, it's a mess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just tell you, right? Just like that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's so important for me to have balance and being aligned with the right people,
Yes.
in the right places, doing the
Absolutely.
right things help bring balance. And when I'm over here dabbling over in stuff that I shouldn't be, and I
Mhm.
sometimes do,
Yeah.
so let me just keep it real.
Yeah. Mhm.
That I sometimes do, instead of staying focused on purpose,
Mhm.
it's a mess.
I
Yeah,
hear you. I
yeah.
hear you.
So we want to encourage the folks
Yes. Yeah,
to have
definitely.
balance.
Yeah, and in my book, you will find that I have a checklist of things to help with balance. And one of those things is, I make a check mark for myself daily. Hey, did I take care of my faith today? Did I touch that? What about my fitness? Did I do anything for my
Ooh,
fitness? What about my finances? Did I do anything for my
mm,
finances?
mm.
And then what about for my fun? Did I do anything for fun? So I give myself a check mark daily if I've done any of those things. And if I didn't, I don't give myself a check mark. And then weekly, I kind of look at it and see how well balanced am I. So, and that's one of the things that you can find in the Dump It book, just a checklist to try to keep balance.
Yes, faith, family, finances, fun,
Hmm.
fitness. I
Yes.
like that. F
Hmm.
to the fifth power.
Yeah, you can create your own F chart,
Yes,
whatever chart you want to create
yes.
that is fitting for you to make sure that you continue to have balance.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Are you able to share any success stories? I know I have friends who um, do a lot of work in the community workshops with youth about um, really um, dating, staying away from bad choices.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so seldom she'll share stories, testimonies of kids, young adults who
Yes.
became college graduates and said, because of you coming into my school, speaking to me, it saved my life.
Yes.
Or I was sexually active with someone, and because you spoke that day, I stopped right then and
Mhm.
changed the direction I was going in.
Oh,
Do you
absolutely.
have stories or people that have shared the impact that you have made in their lives?
Absolutely. And most of the schools that we attend after our program, our workshop is over with, we'll always have a host of teens waiting around just saying thank you so much that helped me. And even some have written emails about how the workshop and how the information in my story has helped. And so it just brings out the forefront of what people are actually hiding in, they are concealing. So to have someone to be able to talk about it and walk down their valley and help them know that, hey, you're not alone. I've had a lot of teens and even a lot of adults say, hey, thank you, this was helpful and I appreciate it. So, because what we like to do when we start off our workshops, we play a game called green light, red light, yellow light, and we ask several questions on is this a red light or is this a green light? And the students are always engaged when we ask questions like, hey, is it a red light that your mate monitors your cell phone? And they're like, oh no, that's a red light. And they're so happy to tell us why that's a red light. And they're so engaged about the different things that may be red, yellow, or green. And so they have shared that it's very helpful and it's been very engaging. And other ministry leaders just really just talked about the value of the workshops that we have held.
Wow, that's awesome. Because you want to hear impact and you want to know impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is awesome. And so, what would you say has been the most challenging part of this journey that you're on?
Well, I would say the most challenging was the part of just starting and not feeling adequate enough to go out and speak and feeling like I should be doing what I'm doing, because you deal with a lot of whenever you're doing the work for the Lord, you got to be ready for the enemy and his attacks, and those attacks that you're not good enough, that you're not qualified. Who do you think you are? You're going to fail. You don't speak well enough. All
Mm,
those things, you have to be ready for those things that he likes to bring up against you when you're doing the work for the Lord. But now I get excited when I face adversity. I say, bring on the adversity, because now I know that I'm doing the will of God when I experience that adversity, because I know how to very well turn that into opportunity. And just, I get excited because I know that if you're coming for me, there's some type of anointing on it. There's some type of favor that you want to take off of it. So, yeah, I get excited because I know I'm doing the work of
yeah,
God.
I love it. You're right. Bring it on. You
Hmm.
put your boxing gloves on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bring it.
Bring it
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Because
Because
I'm
we
a
cannot
champion,
fail.
right?
Yeah, you can't fail when you're operating in the Lord. You
Mhm.
can't fail, and so that's why I had to look at it that way and know that if God has called me to do it, I can't fail. I'm going in His image. I'm going,
That's
and
right.
He has already predestined and covered me to do what He's called me to do.
And let me tell you, one of the things that I have learned on this journey, no matter what
Hmm.
or who is
Mm,
supporting you, you stay true to the
that's
call.
that's right.
You stay true because, like you said, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Hmm.
And so we have to be consistent with
Hmm.
our eyes on the prize because if and we often do,
Hmm.
we'll turn left, turn right versus keeping the eyes straight.
That's
We
right.
do. We get distracted, but
Yeah.
we have to remember that
Hmm.
we can conquer the journey because it's coming.
Yeah, definitely. And I like what you said. You definitely just stay focused and stick with your true self and with your calling. And I'll tell you, one of the mistakes that I made along this journey, I was asked to speak on a topic that was kind of close to teen dating violence, but was not exactly teen dating violence. And so when I stepped into a zone that wasn't what God called me to do, it was kind of a disaster, and it almost crushed
Mm,
me not to want to move forward and do what I've been called to do. But God gave me another chance at it, and I said I'm gonna stick with what you called me to do. And the same people who I spoke with, and where it was kind of a disaster, I had another opportunity to do it again, but I had the opportunity to speak on exactly what I was called to do, and it was beautiful. It was what God had designed, and it restored that failure that I felt that was in me. But
yes.
stay true to your calling, stay true what to God has called you to do, because you just don't want to get off task.
Mm-mm,
What God has
mm-mm.
called you to do, stick with it.
Oh, I
And
love
He'll
it.
elevate you to do other things, but you got to know when that time comes. But you got to stay true to what God has called you to do.
Yes. And I told them we were going to have lots of nuggets, right? And
Yeah.
you're definitely releasing some nuggets and some gems. And
Yeah.
so I am hoping that they are listening and taking notes. I see an amen coming from Sybil and an amen coming from James. So amen. So yes, so that you just shared with us was some of your most challenging moments was just
Yeah.
getting started, right?
Absolutely.
So once we get started, we've even talked about a few, you know, proud moments on the journey. But
Mhm.
what has been the most rewarding part of this journey that you're on right now?
Yeah, the most rewarding part is just being able to be up close with the people and serving at the shelters that where we serve when we're not hosting workshops. Just to be up close with the mothers and their children, to be able to pray for them, to be able to encourage them, to be able to give to them, to be able to be there with them. It's been the most rewarding because you actually see the people who, are really impacted by domestic violence, and the children who have witnessed that their parents go through those things. So that has been the most rewarding, to come in and to give love and to share our love and to encourage them and just to be present with them and to just know that, you know what, God, this could have been me. This could have been me, but
Yes.
you and so just to have all those reminders, and
Ooh.
but to be able to serve and
Mm.
help people out of their situations as well, and encourage them out of their situations, that has been the most rewarding.
Yes. And when I think about purpose and I think about
Mhm.
what you just shared, and I think about what I'm doing with my population of widows and widowers, being a widow,
Mhm.
and I think about, and I would oftentimes have conversations with God and say, why did you choose me?
Mhm.
And I asked him that, and he said to me, because I can trust you. I
Mhm.
can trust you with their hearts.
Yeah. Mm.
And see, a lot of times people don't understand when you're dealing with people in ministry,
Mhm.
like you have to make sure that you are in it for the right reason,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
because these are hearts.
That's right.
They're beating.
That's right.
They're still here.
Mhm.
And the empathy that God has given me for that population that I work with,
Mhm.
even the sympathy when it's necessary to have before I became a widow,
Yeah.
I sometimes say, wow, you chose me.
Right.
Why me?
Mhm.
I didn't want to be a widow. I didn't
Mhm.
want to have compassion for them before I became a widow, but I did,
Yeah.
not knowing that I was
Mhm.
going to be on this journey at 50.
Mm.
And then I have some women in my circle, my network, who were widows at 20 something.
Mm. Oh my.
So when he
Yeah.
gives us that purpose, it
Mhm.
is most rewarding to see the people who you're able to bless,
That's right.
because he trusted you with their hearts.
Right.
That's what
Absolutely.
he confirmed in my spirit.
Yeah. Yes. And that's it. And that's it. And to see the people that he aligns to you to come along and to help you serve, and that's just a beautiful thing to see how God grows
Yes.
something that just didn't start with just anything but you, and he
Yes.
brings the people to come along to help serve on the side of you, to show love and grant love to his people.
Yes.
So, and
It's a
that's
beautiful thing, isn't it?
beautiful, beautiful.
Yes. We could
Yes.
not have made it more picturesque, right?
Mhm.
Is that how you say it?
Yes, that's
We could not have painted the picture
yeah.
any better than
Mhm.
he painted it.
That's
And
right.
so I'm grateful when I walk into the presence, or I'm connected with people like yourself who are walking in their purpose, and I can see it.
Mhm.
Like when I followed your page and I followed your story and I started reading about what you were doing, I know that it wasn't but no one but God that directed me to see what you were doing
Mhm.
and to share that with others,
Mhm.
because I truly believe sharing is caring.
That's right.
And so I use my platform
Mm.
to do what I enjoy doing the most, which is to share resources, to share information, because it's not just for me.
Mhm.
I understand that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for others.
Amen. Amen.
So I'm grateful to, have you here. I want you to share some parting thoughts, and then I want you to also share, you shared the Christmas event that's coming up. I want
Mhm.
you to share, ways that they can donate if they want to go on the website,
Mhm.
or drop off donations of items. I would like for you to just share
Mhm.
something, um, before we get to the end of the show.
Well, absolutely. Just if you want to be involved with the P.U.R.S.E Foundation, being a regular volunteer, as you can see on the screen, you have my email address, and you can send us an email there. You can go to our website and always also contact us there, which is also being is below on the screen, and you can just familiarize yourself with what we do, and that we are just a spirit-led organization, and we are looking for volunteers who love God, who are passionate about serving people, and who just love people and want to just pour into others. And so that's our biggest thing when we go out to serve. It is ministry, and we go out and we go in love. And so when we are feeding, providing food, we do it in love. When we are gifting with items, we do it in love. So we are looking for volunteers who are just have that passion for others to serve, and because that's what it's about. We're here to worship and to serve. And so that's what we do. We serve. And so if you would like to donate to our organization, which we serve on a quarterly basis, you're able to also visit our website and make a donation at our website as well. And so those are some things about P.U.R.S.E Foundation, how to reach us, and how to see what we are doing. And one of the things that I always tell our young people and people in general, just in life, that you all are worthy of being loved, but being loved the right way.
And if you're not, get out, and get out quick. One of the things that I think we shy away from is therapy, right?
Yeah.
And so we realize that
Mhm.
sometimes we have been damaged,
Mm.
sometimes not by our own choices.
Mhm.
And we never got the help that we needed to be able to heal.
Right.
And many times people think prayer is all that we need. No,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
disagree.
Mhm.
I think it's prayer coupled
Oh,
with,
yes. Oh, yes.
right?
Oh,
And
yes.
so we have to make sure that we
Mhm.
are making sure that we share that it is okay
It's
to
okay.
not be okay, and to get
Mhm.
the help you need so
That's
that you
right.
can be.
That's right. Yeah, therapy is definitely is something to be coupled in with prayer. And you just got to look at therapy as someone helping you to unwire everything that's in the brain,
Ooh, say
everything
that
that's
again. Can you say
yeah.
that again?
You have to look at therapy as someone helping you to unwire everything that's in your brain. It may be all tangled up, but let somebody help you unwind that, to help you have a clearer focus, a better way to see things and different
Woo.
perspectives. So it's
Yes, Lord.
needed.
Yes. I remember the first time my marriage ended in 1989. We had our third
Mhm.
child. And
Mm.
I was devastated because this was my
Mhm.
high school sweetheart. I never
Mhm.
saw that was going to happen. We were in the
Yeah.
seventh year of our marriage. And I knew once I left Fort Bragg, North Carolina, moved back home with my parents, with my children, that I
Mhm.
had to get in therapy. So
Yes.
in 1990, guess who
Yes.
was sitting in the session with the
Mm.
therapist? Shenita Scott at the time.
Amen.
And so, and so I'm an advocate
Yeah.
for therapy,
Yes.
because, as you said, the wires get all
Yeah.
tangled up, and you
Mhm.
need help sometimes
Yeah.
trying to untwist and untangle those wires that are all tangled up because somebody or something has got in your head and your brain that
Yeah.
shouldn't have.
Mhm.
And now you got to back it up,
Exactly, exactly.
fix it.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Mhm.
it. Yeah,
And
and
so go ahead, Dr.
well, no, I mean, I just, I deem therapy, I just deem it's necessary as well. And, even when we're talking about dump it in relationships, before even my marriage now, I was also engaged, and I sought therapy, couples therapy, to make sure that I was on the right path. And as, working with therapists helped me to see some things that I just was not ready for in that particular relationship. So I totally agree, because I had so many things going on that I need some unwiring. I need somebody to help me to make sense of some things going on. And so, and fortunately, God has brought the love of my life now here. And but I had to do some things different in order to achieve this particular place that I'm in life.
Yeah,
So I didn't chase it. I didn't have to go. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was stay in position and be in
woo,
position.
I
And
love it.
that's when it came to me. And when it came to me, I did run. I ran.
And as we oftentimes do, like, oh, I'm not ready for that,
Well,
right?
I said, God, when I met him, I said, you know what? Oh my gosh, we just had a great conversation, just meeting each other randomly. And before he could ask me for my number or anything, I said, you know what, God, I want to do something different. I said, if this is from you, I said, I'll see him again. And before he can ask me for my number, I hurried up and took off. So he wouldn't ask me for my number,
I
because I
love
wanted
it.
something different. I didn't want to have control over it. I wanted to have God. I wanted God to be in the midst of it. And sure enough, a month later, God brought it back together again.
Oh, is that not beautiful? Is
Mm-hmm.
that not beautiful?
Yeah.
Yes. So you knew that it was the one. And I
Mm-hmm.
had someone tell me one time they went
Mm-hmm.
to therapy so that they can make sure that they were couple material.
Mm.
Because sometimes you may not even be couple material. And so we're forcing ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to get into relationships
Yeah.
and we're not even supposed to be in them because we're not couple
Mm-hmm.
material.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we just got to face it.
Yeah, sometimes we do need some work on ourselves. Like for me, I thought I was just the great communicator. I thought I had communication on lock. And when I met my husband and we started talking about some things, I realized that my communication was not as effective as I thought it was. And I realized that with communication, it changes. You have to speak on other people's, where they are on their level.
Yes.
So it showed me a lot about myself. So you
Yes.
forever learning new things in life in general. But
Yes.
yeah, just forever learning.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. And I so appreciate just the mere fact that you followed your call, you
Yes.
got in your purpose and you're walking it out.
Mm-hmm.
And as that song used to be, walk it out,
Walk it
walk it out. You
out.
walking it out. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
as we said, prayer without works is dead. No matter what your purpose is, you can pray, but you got to put
Mm-hmm.
the work in it. You
That's
can
it.
pray for business,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to put the work in it. You can
That's it.
pray for a spouse
Mm-hmm.
or a companion. You got
Right.
to put the work in it. You can pray
Yes.
about a beautiful body, but you got to
That's right.
put the work in it,
You
which is
got to
what I
put
have been doing since September.
it.
And when we hang up, I'll be putting on my walking shoes and going to the park and walk before it gets dark.
That's
But
all. Yep.
we have to put the work in
That's
it,
right.
no matter what it is.
That's right. You're
Yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
So, anything you want to share before we prepare to close out?
No,
Anything?
yeah, I just want to thank you so much for having me on the call today to even share more about my organization, P.U.R.S.E Foundation, and what we do. Because a lot of schools, are not always welcoming to the idea of teen dating violence. I did have a school say, "Oh, our teens aren't dating." And so I appreciate the opportunity for you allowing me to share about P.U.R.S.E Foundation, and also the book that is catered to our teens and adults, to talk about healthy dating relationships and dumping anything that hinders you from going forward. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm just so happy to have met you, and I appreciate
Yeah.
you having me today.
Yes. And I am grateful. And they can dump it on Amazon or on your website.
Amazon. They can get dump it on Amazon. You can just put my maiden name Erika Lee and put dump it, and it'll bring you right to it. And you can order your copy there, or you can order a Kindle copy. So
Wonderful,
mhm.
wonderful. I am so excited that you said yes. And I hope that someone sees this and will share it with their youth ministry at church, because kids are wiser today, as the Bible said, and they're exposed to so much more, particularly during COVID,
Yeah,
that we would not have even thought about. And sometimes the enemy is in our homes.
yeah,
And so we have to remember that. And we have to make sure that we're equipping these children
that's right.
with what's necessary, so that we can safeguard them. So
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you again, Dr. Augustine, for your time and your effort, and more importantly, your purpose. Audience, we want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. We want to say, remember that I love you, but God loves you most and He loves you best. Never forget that. If there's a purpose that you're called to do, please walk it out. If you need any help, you have Dr. Augustine there, you have
Yes,
myself, a boost of confidence. We are here to help you move in the direction that God has for you.
absolutely.
Please tune in next week for another amazing conversation. And we thank you as always. Remember, Life with Shenita started with a goal to help people overcome life's challenges and to encourage them to live a vibrant life. I try to do that each and every day. My life is not perfect, but I serve a perfect God, and He
Right.
continues to give me what's necessary to move
Mhm.
forward and to be a light in this dark world. So, you guys have an amazing night, and we thank you again for watching. Please like and share the broadcast because someone that wasn't able to watch it tonight needs to see it as soon as possible. Thank you all. Good night.